It's Thursday, January 31st, 2019, and time for your Barbados Today Morning News Update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. Prime Minister Mia Mottley is warning that the situation in Venezuela could have serious repercussions for the region if it isn't handled right. Her caution came yesterday at an international conference in Puerto Rico of the Clinton Global Initiative.
What is happening in Venezuela is just another example. We are neither for Maduro or against Maduro. We are neither for Guaido or against him. But guess what? We stand to suffer if there is foreign military intervention in Venezuela tomorrow. And even though we talk about the humanitarian crisis, which we know is real, the bottom line is that there are still 26 million people who have been left in Venezuela after the 3 million have left. And can any kind of intervention without dialogue lead to any kind of stability that will ultimately be to the benefit of the Venezuelan people or to us in the southern and eastern Caribbean?
Mottley also continued to make a case for Barbados and other small island developing states that are disadvantaged because they're categorized as middle-income countries.
In the case of Barbados, when I became Prime Minister 7 months ago, we were the third most indebted country in the world. Highest debt to GDP after Japan, after Greece. We've gone into an IMF program. We're in the middle of restructuring. But I can't borrow a cent from the World Bank today, even though I'm precluded from borrowing from the international capital markets because of the debt restructuring. And it's largely because we are categorized, like Bahamas, as a middle-income country. Now, you are effectively condemning these countries back into poverty if you don't unlock access to concessional capital. And that's part of the development discussion that has to be done.
I agree with that.
At the political level, however, we can still make room for our private sector entities to come cross-border to unlock some of the capital, because the reality is, as in Puerto Rico, as with us, governments have no fiscal space. So we've got to use non-fiscal measures to allow our private sector to access capital. If not, they're not going to grow.
The conference on fortifying the future of the Caribbean economy was held at the Clinton Global Initiative Action Network on post-disaster recovery. Barbados' foreign reserves continues to do well, increasing to $1.05 billion at the end of last year. That's approximately 13.5 weeks of import cover. Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes is attributing the positive performance to the implementation of the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transition BERT program.
So far, progress has been encouraging. I think, obviously, what stands out is where we are in terms of our international reserves, both in gross terms and net terms, because the program target is actually set as the net international reserves, and that is over 850 million. You would see that our net domestic assets are also doing quite well because of the improvement in the net international reserves as a corresponding decline in the net domestic assets. We have seen a significant improvement in the fiscal performance. What we provided for you are sort of provisional data. We're still compiling, trying to finalize the data on the fiscal, but certainly what we've seen is a substantial improvement in the fiscal performance. And with the debt restructuring, we've been able to bring the overall stock of debt down.
In his review of Barbados' economic performance for 2018, the central bank governor said unemployment fell compared to the previous year. However, it's expected to rise again as a result of public sector layoffs. Haynes was more circumspect about negotiations with external creditors, with whom they suspended payments in June last year.
How soon I would like to see it completed, I'd like to see it completed today. But I think it's a process. We are negotiating in good faith with the external creditors, and we hope to be able to arrive at a consensual position as soon as possible. I think we have to go through the process to make sure that everyone is aligned, they understand our issues, we understand their issues, and that we're able to come to a position which ultimately will redound to the benefit of the Barbadian economy, and that they themselves will feel comfortable. So let us take this step by step in order to achieve that ultimate goal.
As Barbados continues to grapple with the spate of gun violence that has so far taken nearly half a dozen lives, a former magistrate is suggesting that part of the solution lies in the establishment of gun courts. Keith Simmons, who sat on the bench during the early 1980s, says if his recommendation is accepted and executed, it would speed up sentencing, address the backlog of cases, and even reduce the number of arms and ammunition and accused who are released on bail.
All cases involving guns at this present moment go to the High Court. What we need to do, change the gun law so that magistrates can deal with possession of guns or possession of ammunition. Even if a fellow is charged with murder, the magistrate can deal with that, give it up to 7 or 10 years. By the time we get around to first of all, they can't get bail because they'll be sentenced already. You understand? I would say they have a family court, they have a traffic court, they had a juvenile court. What do you say with gun court?
Yeah.
It could work from Walcott and Falcott every day. Two gun courts, side by side. So I got very few lawyers doing crime. So the lawyers doing crime could be there. They can't say I another court. They're in a crisis.
Right.
So let's set up that two gun courts to work from 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Minister of Tourism Kerry Simmons says Barbados is doing something right after a number of Barbadian companies in the tourism sector copped various awards at the Caribbean Travel Marketplace. The Caribbean Hotelier 2019 award went to hotelier Sunil Chatrani, while Hertz Car Rental Company and Sandals Barbados also walked away victorious at the 29th Annual Travel Awards in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Simmons tells Barbados Today he has a number of plans that could bring further improvements to the sector.
I think awards obviously always suggest that you're doing something good. My position on the tourism industry is that I have wanted to have it rethought for a while, and that process is in train. We created a National Commission on Cruise Development because I wanted us to look seriously at the cruise experience, the airport and seaport experience as institutions within the tourism product of Barbados. I think it is no secret that the airport itself is being reconceptualized. Then the air-to-sea transfer experience, so that the way in which the airport complements the cruise business in Barbados was another area of concern for me. And then the overall product development of the country, which is a work in progress right now.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In news from our regional neighbors now, St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chasney has survived a no-confidence motion. It was defeated after a lengthy session that went into the wee hours of Wednesday morning. More from HGS News Force.
Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre says now that the confidence motion mission is completed and proved its point, the St. Lucia Labour Party is gearing up for stage 2. After a heated exchange between the two sides as to infringements of the rights of minority members, the House Speaker disagreed and called for a ruling on the motion. The opposition's 6 members supported the motion as expected, while the 11 ruling party MPs voted against it. Pierre says, nonetheless, the motion served its purpose.
You've never heard any member of the party's hierarchy say that we intended to get more votes yesterday. We knew it was impossible. We knew that was a war that we would not win yesterday, but we won that battle.
And on the international scene, the French government is under growing pressure to follow other European countries in banning controversial rubber ball launchers used by riot police. The call comes amid a spate of serious injuries suffered by yellow vest protesters. France's legal advisory body, the Council of State, was due to examine an urgent request by a trade union to ban police from using the handheld launchers, which fire rubber projectiles roughly the size of golf balls. The country's rights ombudsman has already called for a ban on the so-called defense ball launchers amid a surge in the number of serious injuries. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. Have a good day. I'm Carol Williams.